The moment I knew my marriage was a lie, I was standing in my own kitchen, staring at a half-eaten plate of spaghetti. Madison's plate. She had barely touched it before dashing out the door with that plastic smile and her usual work emergency. Babe, I'll make it up to you. Routine. I wanted to believe her. God, I did. But something in the way she rushed, too perfect, too rehearsed, set off alarms I could no longer ignore. And the perfume. That's what sealed it. It was strong, musky, and definitely not hers. Madison always wore something sweet, vanilla and coconut. This was sharp, bold, masculine. The sin of a man who wasn't me. I sat down, pushing her plate aside as a cold, sickening thought slithered into my mind. She's lying to you. I grabbed my phone. Some part of me screamed, don't do this. Paranoia ruins marriages, right? But my fingers moved on their own, like they had been waiting for this day. I opened our shared phone plan and went straight to her call logs. There it was. One number. Over and over. Late nights. Early mornings. No name. Just digits. I copied it, pasted it into Google. And there it was, a local gym. A gym she didn't even belong to. I stared at the screen, a hurricane building in my chest. My hands were steady, but my pulse thundered. Laughter used to live in this house. Love. Now, only silence. I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the tile. She thought I was stupid, that I would never check, that I would just keep smiling while she played me. Let's see how well she plays when I show up mid-game. The drive to the gym blurred past. Red lights, street signs, none of it registered. I barely blinked. I parked a block away, not wanting her to see me. Then I waited, watched, and there she was. Madison walked out of the gym, laughing, her body language loose, easy, like she hadn't just kissed me goodbye 2 hours earlier. Then he walked out, built, tall, cocky in that effortless, arrogant way that made my fists clench. They walked close, too close, and then it happened. He touched her lower back, just for a second, but that second was all I needed. I was out of the car before my brain caught up. Maddie. She turned so fast you'd think I screamed. Her eyes, wide, terrified. Not like someone who's surprised. No, like someone who's been caught. The guy turned too, looked me up and down like I was some door-to-door salesman interrupting his lunch. What are you doing here? Madison's voice cracked. She stepped toward me, hands up like she was calming a wild dog. Ethan, let's not do this here. Oh, why not? I gestured toward Mr. BMW. Who's this? Her eyes flicked to him, then back to me. Just my trainer. At a gym you don't have a membership to? Her silence said it all. I let the anger simmer beneath my skin, cold and clear. You're lying, I said simply. Ethan, please. Let's talk at home. Home? I laughed. You mean the place you couldn't wait to leave an hour ago? The one you said you had a meeting for? Her face changed then. Not shame. Not regret. Annoyance. You're being ridiculous, she snapped, crossing her arms. You've been seeing him behind my back. I haven't. I cut her off. Do not insult me further. And then I saw it, the flicker in her eyes when she looked at him. Not panic. Not guilt. Attachment. A plan. She was never going to tell me. Never going to stop. She sighed like I was exhausting her. Maybe we should take some space. And just like that, my world split. Space. I repeated, the word bitter on my tongue. I just think we need time apart. To let you sneak around easier? My voice was sharp now, slicing through the air. Jesus, Ethan, you're overreacting. And in that moment, I knew she wasn't sorry. She had already replaced me. Caleb smirked. I turned to him, fist clenching. You got something to say? He lifted his hands. Not my business, man. You've been touching my wife. I said, not my business. Madison didn't stop him. Didn't correct him. Didn't defend me. And then, the final knife twist. I'll come by tomorrow to get some of my stuff, she said, emotionless, as she opened the BMW's door. My wife, no, my ex-wife drove off with another man while I stood there in the parking lot, watching everything I built go up in flames. I did not remember driving home. 1 second, I was frozen in that parking lot, staring at the fading taillights of the BMW as it carried my wife into a new life that I had no part in. The next, I was sitting in my driveway, hands gripping the steering wheel like I was trying to crush it into dust. The house looked the same, but it was not home anymore. The moment I stepped inside, it hit me, the stench of her betrayal. Not physical, not tangible, but it lingered in the air like smoke after a fire. The couch where we used to binge trashy TV. The kitchen where I made her favorite pancakes on lazy Sundays. The bedroom where she pulled away from me, night after night, claiming stress, exhaustion, anything but the truth. She was already gone. Not physically, yet, but spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Madison had exited this relationship a long time ago. And I, like a fool, kept showing up every day thinking we were still playing on the same team. I moved on instinct, pacing from room to room, hoping to find something that made this real. Something that told me I was not imagining it. And then I saw it. Her closet. Half empty. A line of hangers stretched across the rail like the bones of a skeleton, mocking me. Empty spaces where her blouses and dresses used to be. Shoes missing. The bathroom counter stripped down to just my razor and toothbrush. No more of her clutter. No more hairbands, perfume bottles, lip balm. She had been packing herself out of this house in pieces. Quietly. Methodically. I dropped onto the edge of the bed, our bed, and stared at the floor. I did not cry. I could not. The pain was too thick, too knotted to unwind into something so simple as tears. Instead, I sat in silence, feeling a storm rise behind my ribs. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Madison. I think it's best if I stay somewhere else tonight. We can talk tomorrow. Talk? That word, it made me laugh out loud. A bitter, hollow sound that bounced off the walls of a bedroom no longer ours. Talk like this was a breakup between teenagers. Talk like she had not just detonated the foundation of my life. Talk like I was not shattered. No, we were past talking. I stared at her name on the screen for a long time. Madison. My wife. My traitor. My ghost. I opened our shared bank account. And then, I emptied it. Every last dollar. No hesitation. No second guessing. Just fast, cold clicks. The transfer complete in under a minute. The money was mine now. She wanted to live like she was single? Let her pay her own way. When it was done, I stared at the blank balance with an eerie calm. A line had been crossed. I was no longer the husband waiting for answers. I was the man she tried to play, and I was done playing nice. I stood, walked into the closet, and stared at the last remnant of our supposed love. Her wedding dress. Still hanging, still preserved in a plastic sheath like it meant something. It did not anymore. I yanked it out, marched straight to the kitchen, and shoved it into the trash. There. That was symbolic, right? My phone buzzed again. Madison. Again. Ethan, listen. She must have checked the bank. I let it ring. Then turned off the phone. Let her stew. Let her worry. Let her feel even a fraction of the confusion, the betrayal, the gut-wrenching disorientation I had just lived through. Because this was just the beginning. The next morning, I woke up to fists pounding on my front door like a battering ram. I did not need to guess. I knew who it was. I took my time. Let her wait. She wanted to play the game on her terms. Too bad. Now, we played by mine. When I opened the door, Madison stormed in like a hurricane in heels. Are you insane? She snapped, brushing past me like she still lived here. Where's the money? I closed the door gently behind her and leaned against it. Calm. Still. Oh, you mean our money? I asked, folding my arms. Funny. Since you're moving on, I figured you wouldn't need it anymore. Her face flushed red. I have bills to pay, Ethan. Not my problem, I said flatly. Maybe Caleb can pick up the tab. The second his name left my mouth, her expression twisted. Rage. Real rage. This is petty as hell, she hissed. No, Madison. Petty was you lying to my face. Sneaking out with a man who touches you like I do not exist. Planning your escape like I was some idiot you could leave behind in the rubble. Her lips curled. You stopped trying a long time ago. And there it was. The deflection. The weaponized excuse. I stopped trying? I stepped toward her, voice low and deadly. You were done before I ever had a chance. She looked away, just for a second. But it was enough. I smiled coldly. You want to leave? I said. Fine. But you are not taking a single thing that is mine. Her jaw tightened as she scanned the room, eyes darting over the furniture, the walls, the doorways, like she was seeing them for the first time, as if they were slipping from her grip, and she was trying to memorize what little she had left. You don't get to make that decision, she snapped. Actually, I said, reaching for a stack of papers on the counter. I do. I tossed them toward her. She caught them and began flipping through, her face paling with each turn of the page. Lease, utilities, mortgage, everything in my name. Pack your stuff, Maddie, I said flatly, and get the hell out of my house. Shock flickered across her face for a moment. Then fury took over. You're really doing this? She spat, her voice trembling with rage. You're kicking me out of our house? No, I corrected. I'm kicking you out of my house. You just happened to live here while you lied to me. Her mouth opened, a comeback forming, but nothing came out. She had no argument. No right. She had built her new life on deceit, and for the first time, the ground beneath her was giving way. You were such a child, she hissed, tossing the papers onto the counter. This tantrum, this petty revenge, just proves I made the right decision leaving you. I laughed, slow and low. Leaving me? Madison, you weren't planning to leave. You were going to keep sneaking around, keeping me as your fallback while you decided if Caleb was worth it. But hey, congrats. You bet on the wrong man. Her eyes narrowed. You don't know what you're talking about, don't I? I stepped closer. If I hadn't shown up at that gym, would you have come home last night? Would you have kissed me, laid next to me, told me you loved me while still carrying the sin of him? And finally, for the first time, she cracked. Her mouth twitched. Her hand trembled slightly. She looked away. Good. Let her sit in the truth. I'm done talking, I said, my voice low and even. You have until tonight to get your stuff out. After that, the locks are changing. Her eyes widened. You wouldn't dare. I didn't say anything. Just pulled out my phone and started dialing. Hey, John. Yeah, I need the locks changed. Today. As soon as you can. She gaped at me like I'd slapped her. You son of a... Save it, I interrupted. You started this game. I'm just playing by your rules now. She stormed off down the hallway, slamming the bedroom door behind her. I didn't flinch. Let her scream. Let her throw things. I didn't care anymore. Because no matter what she did now, she had already lost. I sat in the living room, scrolling through my phone as I waited, giving her time to pack. But I knew Madison. She wasn't in there folding shirts and zipping up bags. No, she was planning. Plotting. And I was right. When she finally emerged from the bedroom, she wasn't holding a suitcase. She was holding her phone. And she was smiling. Smug. Confident. Dangerous. I hope you're happy, Ethan, she said, slipping the phone into her pocket. Because this is going to cost you more than you think. I frowned. What are you talking about? She tilted her head, her voice sugary and venomous all at once. Oh, you'll find out soon enough. And then ding. A notification. I glanced at my phone. Bank alert. Withdrawal, $5,000. Joint savings. My stomach dropped. What the? I looked up at her. She grinned. You thought you were the only one with tricks? Please. You locked me out of checking, but you forgot about the savings account. I stepped forward, rage simmering. You stole from me. She shrugged. Call it emotional compensation. I let out a cold, mirthless laugh. You think you're going to walk away with my money and just move on? What are you going to do? She said, crossing her arms. Call the cops? Tell them your mean wife took money from a joint account. She was right. Technically, she had access. The bank would do nothing. She played dirty and legal. And that was my final wake-up call. I took a long breath, looked her straight in the eyes, and smiled. Her smirk faltered. What? You just reminded me of something very important, I said softly. And what's that? I took a slow step closer. That I don't owe you mercy. She blinked. Her confidence cracked. Good. She wanted to play games? She had no idea who she was playing with. She stood frozen, the phone still gripped tightly in her hand like a weapon she was no longer sure how to use. I watched the confusion bloom behind her eyes as the balance of power shifted, and for the first time, she was not sure she had the upper hand. You think you're so damn clever, she hissed, voice brittle. Just because you shut me out of some accounts, you think you've won? I didn't answer. She flared her nostrils, clearly trying to rebuild her mask of confidence. You think cutting me off makes you the victor? Trust me, Ethan, you haven't seen anything yet. She unlocked her phone, scrolled quickly, then tapped the screen and held it up. Speaker mode. I heard the ring. Once. Twice. Then a voice answered. 911. What's your emergency? My heart ceased. Madison's tone shifted instantly. Trembling. Fragile. A perfect actress. Yes. Hi, please. I need help. My husband just attacked me. He's yelling, threatening me. I'm scared. He won't let me leave. I stood completely still. Frozen. The color drained from my face. This wasn't a game anymore. This was war. And she had just pulled the nuclear option. I took a step forward, voice sharp. What the hell are you doing? She locked eyes with me, expression icy and victorious. You don't get to win, Ethan. The voice on the phone responded, calm and serious. Ma'am, are you in a safe location? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Madison was lying, again, but this time, the stakes weren't emotional. They were criminal. My voice dropped into something cold and focused. Hang up, Madison. Now. She smirked. Nice try. No, I said, pulling out my phone. You're going to want to see this. Her face twisted into a skeptical scowl. What? You're going to show me a meme? I opened the security app and turned the screen toward her. She stopped breathing. On the screen, crystal clear playback of her walking into the house, yelling, screaming at me, admitting she took the money, threatening me, and, most importantly, me, never once laying a hand on her. She paled. Her expression crumbled. I stepped closer, still holding the phone out, letting the footage play. You forgot about the cameras, Maddie, I said softly. Remember those little black dots you always complained about? The ones you said made the place feel like a prison? Well, guess what? This prison saved my life. The voice on the phone crackled again. Ma'am, are you still there? Madison's eyes darted toward the floor, her breath short and sharp. Then, in the weakest, fakest voice she had ever used, she whispered into the receiver. Sorry. I made a mistake. She ended the call. Silence. A suffocating, bitter silence. I slid the phone back into my pocket, never breaking eye contact. That's what you were willing to do? I asked, voice steady but with fire just under the surface. That's how low you'd go. She didn't answer. Her eyes brimmed with fury, not shame, not regret, just pure, furious humiliation. She had been caught. Fully. Publicly. Irrefutably. You tried to destroy me, I said. Just to win. Just to not lose. She crossed her arms, trying to regain even a shred of dominance. You pushed me. You made this happen. I stepped closer, toe-to-toe now. No, Madison. You made this happen the second you chose him. The second you lied. And the second you walked out that door and looked back at me like I was some pathetic relic. Her jaw clenched. She looked away, but I could tell. She had no more moves. Pack your things, I said, and get out. She didn't move. I turned my back on her, not caring what she did next. I had already won, and she knew it. Minutes passed. I didn't hear footsteps. I didn't hear zippers. I didn't hear drawers. Instead, I heard something else. A sniff. Not of sadness. Of rage. You're going to regret this, she said. I turned, eyebrows raised. Is that a threat? No, she said, her voice deadly calm. It's a promise. I shook my head. No, Madison. What you just did was attempt to commit a felony. You threatened me with false police reports. You stole from me, and you emotionally torched every ounce of trust we ever built. She opened her mouth to argue, but I held up a finger. Save it. The show's over. The cameras recorded everything. And if you ever try something like that again, I'll forward the footage to the police myself. Her eyes darkened. And trust me, I added, they'll believe me over a woman who just faked a domestic abuse call on a recorded line. That landed. I saw it in her posture, in her breath, in the way her chin dropped just slightly. For once, Madison didn't have a comeback. No sarcasm. No smirk. Just silence. I walked away. This house was still mine. But she was finished. Madison didn't pack. At least, not at first. She stayed planted in the hallway like a glitch in reality, her arms crossed, phone clutched like a grenade she no longer had the courage to throw. She had no smirk left. No angle. No more gaslight. No more performance. She was still trying to compute the fact that I had won. Not emotionally. Not romantically. Strategically. She gave a sharp exhale through her nose and finally stormed toward the bedroom, slamming the door behind her so hard a picture frame on the hallway wall tilted sideways. I didn't fix it. Let it hang crooked. Let it match the moment. I sat on the couch, phone in hand, calm now, silent. Watching the clock. I gave her an hour. That was generous, considering she had planned to bleed me dry and frame me for assault 20 minutes earlier. And she tried. Oh, she tried. Because when she came out, she wasn't dragging luggage. She was dragging another bluff. A smirk had found its way back onto her face, fractured, but functional. She sauntered to the door, phone in hand again, pausing like she wanted a dramatic final monologue. Well, she said, brushing a non-existent wrinkle from her sleeve. I hope you enjoyed this little show of dominance, Ethan. Because when the divorce papers come through, you'll wish you hadn't pushed me. I laughed. For real this time. You think I'm scared of a divorce? She tilted her head. You should be. I've got receipts, emails, texts. Years of leverage. You think this footage saves you from all of that? I stood up, slow and steady. I don't need saving. You're the one who just burned every bridge you had. She squinted at me. You don't get it, do you? I get it perfectly, I replied. You're a cornered liar who's lost control. And now you're throwing threats like rice at a funeral. Her smile cracked. I walked over to the door, opened it for her like a gentleman at a gala. Get out, Madison. She stepped outside, paused on the porch. You'll hear from my lawyer. I hope I do. Because mine already knows everything. Her eyes flicked toward the street, then back to me. This isn't over, she said one last time. I leaned in, voice low. It is for you. And then I shut the door. Quietly. Not a slam. Not a scream. Just a click that echoed like the final note in a requiem. I turned the deadbolt. It felt good. Powerful. And final. She didn't knock again. She didn't come back for more. Because the truth had finally caught up with her, and now it wrapped around her like chains. The moment she stepped into that BMW with him, Caleb, she made a choice. One she thought she could walk back from. But this wasn't a movie. There were no retakes. I changed the locks an hour later. Deleted our shared cloud accounts. Had my lawyer file the paperwork that same week. Divorce. Fast. Brutal. No alimony. No assets in her name. No leverage. She tried to contest it. She failed. Turns out cheating, stealing, and faking a felony charge makes a judge less sympathetic. The $5,000 she tried to withdraw? I had flagged it in time, locked it in a pending fraud review that froze the transaction. And her precious Caleb? Yeah, turns out he wasn't as committed as she thought. A few weeks after she left, I got a message, anonymous Instagram account. Screenshot of a shirtless Caleb, and a girl who was definitely not Madison curled up beside him. Caption read, she thought she was special. LMAO. Poetic. I didn't reply, didn't share it, didn't even smile. I just archived it. Proof, in case I ever needed it. I kept going. Lived quietly. Started running again. Cooking again. I bought a new couch. Painted the bedroom. Donated her old dresses and heels to a shelter. And one afternoon, as I threw out the last of her perfume bottles, the fake vanilla crap she used to wear, I found something tucked behind the bathroom mirror. A receipt. From months ago. Dinner for two. Not in our city. Not on a weekend. And not with me. It was dated 3 days after our anniversary. She had been gone long before I ever noticed. But I was here. Still standing. Stronger. Sharper. Smarter. The day the divorce finalized, I walked out onto the back deck with a glass of bourbon, raised it to the sky, and whispered, to betrayal. Then I smiled. Because I hadn't just survived it. I had buried it. And I was done looking back.